You can get it. Marvelous.
Yo, what's good? Welcome back to the channel, y'all. And look. Ever since I came out with my budget and nail deck list, I've been seeing a lot of people in the comments telling me they want to see more budget lists, budget options for my budget players that I don't feel like dropping a bag on this game. Maybe you guys are new, or maybe you guys want to try out a deck, or maybe you're trying to find out what is going to be your main deck and you just want to play on the budget to test out as many decks as you want. Well, look, I'm here to provide, and I'm here to tell you guys the 7 top most competitive budget decks in the One Piece TCG. If you are new coming from Yu-Gi-Oh, or you're coming from Magic, or you're coming from Pokemon, these are the top 7 competitive budget tech lists out there that you could possibly use in the One Piece meta right now. These are topping lists. Some of them are even still doing well in OP08, which is the next set. So let's go ahead and get straight into it. So the first list we have is Yellow Katakuri. We are at $88. That's underneath the $100 mark for this deck. This deck is actually doing very well in OP07, even though it's not really that played. But in OP08, it actually came first in a couple of major tournaments in Japan. So Katakuri is still very good, very good option, especially for the budget. When we look at the prices here, you're the one that should disappear. It's at $2 each. At 4, very good card. But the only other card you're really going to be spending a lot of money on is the Flampy. The Flampy right now is sitting at around a $4. Actually, I think it may have gone up. I think it might be around $4.50, maybe $4.50. Very good card. One of the most expensive cards in the deck. Everything else is very cheap. We got Capone Beige at $8 for 4. We got Charlotte Pudding 2 for 4. And the only other thing that's really going to break your pocket, it's going to be this Lin right here. It's the 4. You're going to need 4 of these for the 7 drop. It's the Lin, but I mean, the deck is only $88, and you guys should really be happy at the fact that it's $88, because before, this Charlotte Lin card used to be $15 to $20 each. Now we're sitting at $9 each. So if you guys did want to play Katakuri, or you do want a budget option of Yellow Katakuri, this is the deck to try out. Very good budget option and very competitive, very competitive. So let's go ahead and get straight to the next deck. So the next deck we have is the original Tier 0 deck, the best deck of all time in some people's eyes. This is the deck that was running Havoc, and that was Red Whitebeard. We're sitting at 107. So I feel like a budget range is anywhere from 150 and below. And that's what this deck pretty much provides. Very good deck. If you like rushing down your opponent, if you like playing Yu-Gi-Oh, this is your deck, okay? This is pretty much your deck. The whole gist of this deck is to get all your life in your hand, and you pretty much almost use those as hand traps and swarm the board. This is almost like a Yu-Gi-Oh deck. If you are a Yu-Gi-Oh player, you do like rushing, a lot of aggro on the field, this is the deck you need to run. Let's go over the prices real quick. We have 4 Radical Beam. It's at 4 for $6. Very good. Makino's at 2. Izu's at 1. The only cards that you're really going to be spending a lot of money on is this Monkey D. Luffy. It is a rush and it cannot be blocked. Very good card. You're going to need 4 of them. 4 of them, you're going to be at $20. And the next thing that is kind of expensive is this Marco. Marco is very good. Allows you to keep on recycling this Marco when it gets destroyed every single turn. Very good card. And it's a 6K beater, 5 drop. And it's just very good, really solid. And the only other card that is expensive are these two. These Portuguese Ace allows you to gain rush. Very strong card. You're looking at $11 for this. And your Edward Newgate, which is your main boss monster of the deck, 10K power, 9 drop. 3 of these total of $26. So we're actually looking at a whopping $107 for the Whitebeard rushing Yu-Gi-Oh type style deck. If you guys like the aggro, you like to swarm the field, maybe not as much as RP Law. RP Law, if you guys do want to play RP Law, the deck's like $300-$400 because of Gordon and shit. But if you guys do want to have some type of deck that swarms, cheap and affordable and fun to play, and it used to be one of the best decks of all time, Red Whitebeard is definitely the way to go. Let's go ahead and talk about our next list. Next list we have is now Green Uta. We're sitting at $132. You can see right here, Uta, 70 cents. So the reason why this deck is, first off, before we even talk about why the deck is so expensive, my personal opinion where this sits in the meta, I feel like this may be tier 2. Uta's a good deck, but for a green deck, you'll probably want to play Bonnie. Bonnie is a little bit more expensive than this, but if you do want to play green or just a green deck in general, this might be one of the best green decks you can use. There's only one other green deck on the list that's a little bit more aggro. If you like control, this is definitely the way to play. You see a lot of the cards in the deck. The main driving forces of this deck is this Nami. For 4 of them, you're going to be paying $28. It's on playability, as you can see right now. The other card that you're going to need 4 of is this Mihawk. Accidentally clicked this on accident. You can see right here on the screen. We're at $26. You need 4 of them, and everything else is relatively cheap except for these Hody Jones. Hody Jones, this is your in-game cleaner, the best green rusher in the game. And then after that is you need 1 Roronoa Zoro. Very good card in this game. So these 2 are your in-game cleaners. Roronoa Zoro is very good. That's the reason why it's $36 still till this day. And yeah, if you guys did want to play a green deck and maybe transition over to like green body, or this might not be a bad choice. If you are trying to play green body later at a later date and you don't have the money right now, go ahead and pick this up, because a lot of these cards that you use in green Uta transfer over to green body, such as this Roronoa Zoro, this Hody Jones, and let's see what else. That's really about it, but those are also some of the ones that are the most expensive. So green Uta film deck, fairly good deck. Let's go ahead and get straight to the next one. So the next deck we have is Purple Blue Jourdu. I feel like this might be one of the best, if not the best, budget deck that you can really go into competitively. The only other deck that really stands up to Purple Blue Jourdu probably has to be maybe Yellow Katakuri or even Red Whitebeard. Okay, those are the only 2. I feel like this is probably the best budget deck for competitive wise if you are a skilled pilot. You guys see in One Piece top. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get straight over to it. We're at $94. Very good deck. Like I said earlier, I feel like this is the best budget competitive deck out there to use. Very cheap deck. The only thing that's really going to be running you is the Kayla's 4 for $5. It's really the Vinsmoke. This is another reason why it's a very good deck to use, because if you guys end up playing this deck and you pick up this Vinsmoke Jourdu, you could actually transition this card in almost every other purple deck out there, because Jourdu is just that strong of a card. If you guys are interested in purple decks and you guys want to upgrade to maybe Red Purple Law or RP Luffy or even Purple Kaido, this card is actually very cracked for all purple decks. So if you are on a budget right now, you can just use this Purple Blue Jourdu and just build your way up. But this is still a very good deck. Other cards that are also kind of expensive is this Queen blocker. You need 4, and also when it comes to purple deck, RP Law uses Queen. A lot of these cards are transferable, so even if you are playing Jourdu, all these staples that you are getting, you're going to be able to transfer to other purple decks. So like I said earlier, if you guys are a purple fan, want to get into the game out of budget, this is probably the best competitive budget list, just leader in the game, fact, not an opinion. And that's really the only reason why this deck is pretty expensive. It's really the Jourdu and the Queen. But like I said earlier, if you're really just trying to get into the game, this is probably the best competitive budget deck out there. This has to be the number 1. Number 2 is probably Katakuri, and number 3 is Red Whitebeard. This is the best. If you're a skilled pilot, you can still take this to any tournament right now and still put motherfuckers in a pack, spin them off the block, and go fuck they bitch. You guys already know what it is, bro. So yeah, that's all I got on this. Let's go ahead and get straight to the next deck. So the next deck we're going to be discussing is Green Yellow Yamato. Okay, very good deck. As you guys can see on the screen right now, it's a double attack. This leader can attack twice, so very strong aggro deck. If you do like playing yellow and you like aggro, this might be the deck for you. We're sitting at around $124, and let me share my opinions on what I personally think about this deck in the meta. It's still very strong. The only thing about this deck is that it kind of loses to blockers. Yamato has a really hard time with blockers, just for the issue that it has a double attack. When you have that double attack, you always want that double attack to go through at life. So they have a blocker that pretty much nullify your whole entire ability in this leader. So my opinion, very good leader. But if you are trying to play a rushing type of you might want to try to go to red. But if you do like triggers and you do like resting and searching out your deck a lot, this might be the deck for you. Very aggressive deck late game. It does have some tops on One Piece top deck. Go ahead and break down the price of this deck. This deck is sitting at $124. Not bad. Anything underneath 150 is very good where you want to be sitting at. Leader's really cheap. You're the one that disappears. It's at 3. Very good card. And if you are planning to play any other yellow type of decks, this is transferable to any yellow decks. This is probably the best event in the game. Fact, not an opinion. 100 volts tomorrow. It's starting to fall out of meta, but it's still very good to have if you plan on, you know, going into YGOD. You guys already know what it is. YGOD, Yellow Ganga Die, YGOD, and that's on the game. Shout out to all my delinquents. Tap in, and yeah, that's all I gotta really say about 100 volts tomorrow. When we keep on looking at the rest of the deck, the only reason why this deck is actually kind of pricey is this Kazuku Hiyori. It's at $15 each. That's the reason why when you get 2 of them, we're almost pushing 30. You have some Izus at 5, you have Capone at 8, and you have the Dracul Mihawk at $26, but you do get 4 of them. So, and if you do plan on playing another green deck, this is also a very good card that you could possibly have. Everything else is relatively cheap, but the only thing that's different is the Hody Jones. If you do plan on playing a green body, this is also transferable as well. Very good card. Rusher card, and it also speeds up the deck, and it's also transferable to other decks. If you are a yellow player, if you're a YGOD gang member, bro, try out Yamato, try out Katakuri. If not, if you're with any other color, cool, but my opinion, Yamato, can't go wrong with Yamato if you like yellow. Okay, let's go ahead and get straight to the next deck. So this is the next deck I'm gonna be discussing. I'm not a fan of this deck. You guys see it on the screen. I really don't like RPG decks, solitaire decks.
This Harry Potter reading deck, this popcorn in a movie deck, this I'm gonna sit down and not even play the game and I come back and you're still playing by yourself type deck.
Nami, I'm not a fan of Nami because there's no interaction with your opponent. You're just sitting there and playing by yourself. You might as well just start using your left and right hand at that point, okay? No diddy, but very good deck, $40 deck. And it's just Nami, bro. Solitaire deck. If you want to just play it yourself, pause. This is definitely the deck you want to run, and it's also very budget. I mean, it's $40. The reason why it's $40 because nobody wants to play this deck. Okay, it's not interactive. When people watch you play of this deck, they just look at you with a freaking cringe, you know, grin on their mouth, like, bro, out of all the decks you're choosing this. So if you guys do want to play this and you're really on a budget where you only have $50 and play it, but let's be real, I know a lot of you guys' budget is probably like around $100. Stay away from this deck if you can, but if you do like Blue Nami, or if you just like Nami, or if you're a weeb and you like Nami and you're just on a budget, then go ahead and play it. Very good deck. Only thing that is kind of expensive is this Sanji's Pilaf. And the only reason why I'll tell you not to play this deck as well, because a lot of these cards aren't transferable. When you use different blue decks, a lot of these cards you're not going to be using, and the fact that Sanji's Pilaf is only used in this deck, you're going to be wasting $13 if you guys do want to end up making another blue deck such as like Boa or Dofi. So just my thoughts, my opinion. Very cheap deck. And yeah, let's go ahead and get straight to the last deck that we have on the list. So the last deck we have on the list is Red Zoro, sitting at $74. Very good budget option. I feel like this is a worst version of Red Whitebeard. You see on this leader, all your characters gain 1,000 power. Not really that strong, but there are a couple Zoro fans out there. If I was you, I'd rather spend the extra $30 and just get the Whitebeard, because the Whitebeard actually has a couple of wins and tops, both in the OCG, OPO8 and OPO7. Radical Beam, like I said earlier, goes in both Red Whitebeard and Zoro, but the major reason why this card is so much is the Marcos and the Kid and Killers. In my opinion, if I had to tell you guys between Red Whitebeard and Zoro, I would rather just go a Whitebeard, because Kid and Killer is really only good in Red Zoro and also RP Law, and RP Law is probably going to get banned by the time we get to OPO8, so Kid and Killer is going to be a waste of money. If you really just try and pick up a deck that's going to really just take your money to the next level, I feel like Whitebeard's going to be doing that, because even now in OPO8, Whitebeard is still performing, number one, and number two, you don't want to pick up cards that has a possibility of not even being used in the fucking, you know, next format, you know what I mean? So you don't want to pay $15 for this now, then when OPA comes out, these cards are $3 because it's no longer meta, you get what I'm saying? So if I had to pick, I'll still go for Red Whitebeard, but this is also a very good price, $74. You cannot beat it. And yeah, man, this is pretty much all the budget competitive decks that are viable in the OP07 meta at this point, and possibly OP08, because there's some decks out there like ﷺ that just won 2 or 3 big tournaments out there, like $1,000 player tournaments with yellow ﷺ. So these decks are variable, they're just not that popular at the moment. Okay, new card syndrome. But yeah, man, that's all I got. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope I helped out all my budget players. And yeah, man, I'll see you guys in the next one. But look, before I go, if you was feeling the vibes, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. It all go.